Peterborough Kawartha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's always an honour to rise and speak on behalf of the beautiful riding of Peterborough Kawartha, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody watching. I hope that you have somebody in your life that you love, whether it be your parents, your kids, or somebody special. I am the critic to this file, so it is my job to really hone in on what is not being done. So what we're talking about today is C-35. What people at home may know this bill as is the infamous $10 a day childcare that the Liberals have run a very big marketing campaign on and promised the moon, the stars and the sun, and have not, unfortunately, delivered any of that. So what I want to start with, as I listen to my colleague across the way, who is the minister for this file, reiterate that the purpose of this bill was sold a real pipe dream to Canadians. And as a mom, it's an easy pipe dream to buy, right? So affordable, inclusive, quality, and access childcare. But what I'm going to outline today in this speech, and when we talk about the amendments that were sent back from the Senate, I'm going to outline clearly what we actually have in reality. And so what we have, I also do need to do this, thank you so much. I do need unanimous consent to share my time with the honourable member from Portneuf-Jacques-Cartier.
All those opposed to what the member is proposing will please say nay.
D'accord?
Agreed. Now this is heard the terms of the motion. Would all those opposed please say nay? Carried.
Unlimited time. It's a 10-minute speech with 5 minutes questions and comments as she's sharing her time. The honourable member for Peterborough Kawartha.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to my colleague's speech about this, as I'll get into that in a little bit with the amendments. But going back to what we've actually seen, what this program has delivered. The Liberals love to say it's transformational. That, Madam Speaker, is absolutely true. The childcare waitlists under this program have skyrocketed. Childcare centres cannot grow to meet the demand. Childcare centres cannot afford to operate. There is a bias against entrepreneur-run childcare centres and an open call to phase them out, which will decrease access even more. The people who need affordable childcare the most are not getting it. This program is not equitable. The child is not the priority of this agreement. Ideology is. Parents do not have choice. Children with special needs, which is going up and up as we see more and more neurodivergence, are not getting the support they need with this agreement. Access to childcare has decreased, meaning instead of empowering more women, it has taken away their choice. And yes, I have the stats to back all of this up, Madam Speaker, setting the provinces up to take the blame when they were coerced into signing a flawed federal contract. So let's break this all down, Madam Speaker, and it is quite an easy thing to break down because really what you need to do is pick up the phone and answer the calls that have been flooding in to, I'm sure, constituencies across this country. So we can start with the stats, just a few quick stats of what's actually happened. 77% of high-income parents access childcare versus 41% of low-income families. That's the stats that is coming out right now. How equitable is that? Shouldn't we want a service where the people who need it the most can access it? The labour force participation rate for women was 61.5% in September 2023 compared to a high of 61.7% in 2015. Women are going down in the workforce, not going up. Employment rate of female youth on a strong downward trend since February 2023 with a cumulative decline of 4.2% over that period. This is the lowest since May 2000, excluding the pandemic. The number of children under the age of 5 in childcare fell by 118,000 between 2019 and 2023, a decrease of 8.5% nationally. 46.4% of parents reported difficulty finding childcare in 2023, which is up from 36.4%. In Ontario, the proportion of children in childcare was 48% in 2023 compared to 54% in 2019. Childcare deserts are affecting nearly 50% of young children in Canada. This It goes on and on and on, Madam Speaker, and the numbers are there. And the numbers are real, but I think when you start to listen to the stories, that's where we really have to pay attention, because as I've said multiple times in this House, there are true human consequences to the incompetence and wasteful spending of this government. We recently heard from Andrea Hannon, who is, she oversees ADCO, okay, which is the Association of Daycare Operators in Ontario. She represents independent licensed childcare centres, both commercial and not-for-profit. And this is what she said, because we're doing a study on economic empowerment for women and the status of women. And she said, and I quote, "We have a sector of the economy that was largely created by women, is essential to women's equality in the workforce, and is one of the only economic sectors in the country where women have always been fairly represented as owners and managers. It's not only being undervalued by government, but targeted for replacement by a government-run system." What was even more disturbing about that testimony, Madam Speaker, is not one of the Liberal members in the committee disputed this. Not one. In fact, by their line of questioning, it was clear they were quite comfortable with the idea of arbitrarily eliminating small business. It seems now that this was their plan for childcare. And that is the reality of what we're talking about. And that is why this is an ideology-based system. And they had the option multiple times to help these small business, these female-operated small business owners who are sitting at home and they want to go back to work, but you know what? They can't. They don't want to leave their kid, and they think they're going to do two things. I'm going to start my own business, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to help the other women in my life and the other families I know, and I'm going to invite children into my home, and I'm going to care for them and provide quality care. Well, what I have heard repeatedly across this country is that these women-owned daycare centers are being targeted, and they are bleeding money, and they are shutting down. This woman wrote to me from Simcoe, and I want to tell you that she told me she right now is personally funding $20,000 to $30,000 per month so that childcare is available just to pay its bills. She said, "We are committing to helping our parents by being in this program." It's called CWELC for people at home. It's an acronym, Canada-wide Early Learning Childcare. CWELC is the common acronym for it. The reality is, by staying in the program, we will be bankrupt and lose 250 childcare spaces, and 45 dedicated staff will be unemployed. This program will close the business that I have worked so long and hard to build. That is the reality of what this program is doing. Now, don't just take my word for it. You're sitting at home, you're a critic, you have nothing nice to say about the Liberals. No, I don't, because they have a record of repeatedly showing us that they cannot manage taxpayer money. That's been in the news all week. An Arrive scam app that should have cost $80,000, and $60 million is the total we know of right now, but it's probably more. $1.36 billion on homelessness, and hey, I don't know if you've been outside lately, but there seems to be a lot more tents. This government is famous for making the people dependent on them, and then taking away that dependence and destroying them. They did it with the media, and they've done it with so many other industries. They're doing it now with our post-secondary education and immigration and students. They've turned off the tap. Now these universities don't know what they're going to do.
I believe we have a point of order from the honourable member from Aurora, Oak Ridge's Richmond Hill.
Thank you very much. I'm just wondering what this has to do with childcare right now. She seems to be straying pretty far from what we were debating.
I think the honourable member, I know it's probably part of debate as we're doing here tonight, but I just want to make sure that everyone stays on the bill that is before us. The honourable member for Peterborough-Kawartha.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm so glad the Liberal members have to stand up and ask what this has to do with childcare, because it has to do everything with childcare. That is the reality. And so, and it is, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to start to read to you the headlines. These are just in the last month. In 1 month. As the Liberals' universal daycare policy unravels, Conservatives could go on the offensive. Burlington Child Care Centre leaves parents struggling with 1 week closing time. Daycares navigate financial struggles as province aims for $10 a day childcare. Rolling closures highlight need for emergency actions to keep $10 a day childcare viable. 9,200 children waiting for care in Waterloo Region. Alberta daycares brace for losses as Trudeau deal kicks in. Parents have yet to get the childcare they deserve. What does this have to do with daycare to the member opposite? Everything. People can't go to work. That's what's happening. $10 a day daycare is a great idea, but Yellowknife, it's hard to find a spot. My son's daycare can't afford to stay in the $10 a day program. Now we'll have to pay an extra $800 a month. And this is Liberal paid media telling us this. As London daycare's waitlist quadruples, a desperate parent opens her own daycare instead. Childcare spaces remain tight on PEI despite government initiatives. Shall I keep going, Mr. Speaker? Oh, am I out? And that is the reality of this failed program.